Hello everyone and welcome back to the workshop. In this video we are going to be making another batch of these BMW Isetta rear panels. If you have a look at them, a lot of different shapes going into it. Going to even have to make a new louver die to get some crisper edges on there. See, got some stretched outer edges as well as the whole thing being a compound curve as such. A bit of dishing, some shaping, and like a kind of make a little die form for that there, as well as this return edge at the top. So a lot of different techniques have to go into it, and obviously first of all I actually need a good reference. So I've already made the buck, actually made this for a last lot I made, but then the next thing is a good template to go off of. So I'm actually going to draw that up in CAD. And then get that laser cut. Again, because it's another batch of panels, I actually want to have a lot of consistency throughout, and getting them all laser cut and drawn up in CAD will actually make that much easier. So we'll get drawing and show how it's done. Now that I've got the pieces back from laser cutting, as you can see, that's what it is there. I've basically got the top hole quite undersized so that doesn't catch on the wheels as it goes through the English wheel there, and as well these are good guides for when the louvers go in to make sure they stay nice and square. There's still a bit of extra material on there, but the main thing with these is that it's going to be a lot of stretch going into it. So once it's passed through the English wheel, that's going to stretch out, and then it's going to leave that excess just to trim off at the end. So I'm going to pass it through here. I've got not a huge crown wheel in there. I'm actually just going to be passing it through, I think this is the second lowest other than flat, so that I can pass it through there and just get a nice bit of a compound curve into these bits of steel here. Some people go a bit too aggressive and then you end up having to counteract it with all the lines that are left in it. So a nice low crown, basically what the intended shape is. So let's start wheeling it. So, as you can now see, this won't want to sit flat. So we've got a good bit of shape in there now. What I'm going to have to do is just shrink this bottom edge slightly to get a little bit more crown and bring this section around. That way it's going to lay on the buck a lot nicer, and then that's the transition into the lower valance, the lower rear valance on the Isetta. So we'll do that now in the power hammer. So I've actually got this set up with the thumbnail shrinking dies. So just going to go along the very bottom edge, very gently, probably just a couple passes. That'll be enough, and I'll probably smooth it out a little bit more on the English wheel. Here we go. So now that all the panels are wheeled up, I need to actually start to put the dish where the filler goes here. So by doing that, I'm actually going to have to stretch all that material and basically hit it down into some kind of form. So I've got a few bits of scrap ply that I had laying around. Basically a sandwich between those. It goes the right way, like that. And I basically hammer into it, basically clamping the outside material in place and then stretching the center of the material down where it needs to go. That will then give me plenty of material to work with to then shape to the edges it needs to form to. And then also where I've got the small hole in the rear panel, I can then drill that through and then punch the rest of the hole out. So. Right, so now you can see I've got the dishing in place there and all the louvers. But what I got to do now is actually tip this bottom edge here, but as you can see, it doesn't go all the way across. This is because this is a return edge that actually forms around the back end, basically the rear quarters of the Isetta. And what I'm going to be doing here is using the bead roller, and I've got a beaded die on top and the flat die on the bottom. So with these, usually you'd use a tipping die, but I'm going to be using the bead as the actual tipping die now, just because I don't want such a harsh edge on the inside. I want it to be quite a smooth transition. So got those set up with a nice offset. Won't really be able to tip them all the way up, but it'll just mean it gives that little break in there for that transition, and then I can do any of the stretching that's needed to let that panel flow around. Okay, so now that we have the return edge in place at the bottom of the panel, I've actually marked up and scribed a line along the top here. So that is going to be a stepped edge, hence why I've got the step dies in. This is where the window gasket will actually sit. So the window actual rubber seal that goes around sits into there and comes up to the stepped line. So I'm just going to pass that through now. We'll need a little bit of dressing as it goes through. We'll do that on the tree stump. And then it will just be down to punching the hole out. But let's step that now. So this is all going to be done by eye. Try and make the transitions as smooth as possible while curving round. And voila. See a few little kinks in there. Just going to hammer those out and clean off the permanent marker that and the scribe line. Hello everyone, just want to take a moment out of this video to say a big thank you to Frost Restoration, the shirt I'm in here. They've actually supplied the epoxy primer I need for this project to spray all these back panels. It's not just the one can, I've got a few others. But this stuff is just a great go-to grab can for all those little hard to reach places. You know, with epoxy, you usually don't think you can actually get it in a can. Fortunately you can. You can get it straight from their website, or even just give them a call and speak to their customer service, and they could even point you in a direction, because I think they've got a few varieties. So Frost Restoration, yeah, big thank you to them supplying this, and I highly recommend you get yourself some. Okay, back to the video. Okay, so got the holes all drilled through there. There we go. So just going to punch those through with a knockout tool, so it's going to be cut to the right size. And then that means that section is ready for the fuel filler. And here we have one BMW Isetta rear panel. You can see there's a lot of work that's gone into that, along with the rest of the others, because obviously I have made these in a batch. I've got some epoxy primer on here. This is a great primer to actually keep the weather off of it, because these aren't being fitted straight away. They're going off to the supplier as such for them to be then sold on. So these are going to be stored away, and you know, having the epoxy on there will keep a lot of the weather, any condensation off of them, just so it is ready for the next person to actually fit it. I hope you've enjoyed watching how these are made, all the tools and techniques that are needed for it, such as the louvers, dishing, and even using a knockout tool, punching the holes. As you can see, it was quite a variety of tools, some simple, some a bit more intricate. But if you want to see more stuff like this, just, you know, follow along, subscribe, and you know, I hope to see you in the next video.